Herewith, and put your own name in. Herewith my blessings. I know all about the classes in jhana and pranayama, which you're holding in New York. Convey my blessings to all who are attending and to all devotees there. Sadhaks must cultivate love and the spirit of selfless service. So he's saying, besides meditation and pranayama, we must cultivate love and the spirit of selfless service. Success in jhana and pranayama is to be measured not only by the betterment of physical and mental health, but more by the depth of equanimity gained and the extent of sympathy that wells up from the heart. So he says, the success in meditation, we can measure it by the depth of equanimity gained and the extent of sympathy that wells up from our hearts. So this is, we could always check ourselves to know how far we've gotten. Do we have equanimity? And do we have sympathy and love? Jhana must reveal to the aspirant that all are entities in the same principle of existence, Sat. So all are entities in the same principle of existence, Sat. All are concretized thoughts in the same consciousness, Chit. Concretized, we are all concretized thoughts in the same consciousness, Chit, and all are waves of the same sea of bliss, Ananda. We are all waves of the sea of bliss, of Ananda. It is ignorance, the ego, that persuades each one to believe that others are separate and even opposed. It is this delusion that causes sorrow and makes man toss from pleasure to pain and from joy to grief, instead of being an unruffled spectator of both. So we're unruffled spectators of pleasure and pain, and joy and grief. Seekers have to dive into themselves and discover the inner spring of bliss. That's what we're doing today. We're diving into ourselves to discover the inner spring of bliss, the inner spark of immortality. They will look upon the universe as the body of the Lord and revere every single being and thing as sustained by God. Through loving thoughts, loving words, and loving deeds, they cultivate love towards God's handiwork and God. This is Swami says, I always lay emphasis on love as the path to God, that the eyes shed love as cool as moonlight, that the heart saturated with love be soft as butter, that the tongue urged by love speak sweet as honey. Jhana on the Supreme will bring about this transformation as more and more progress is made. My blessings are with all those who are making such spiritual effort. I bless that they may have steadfast faith. With blessings, Baba. And these blessings continue. 69, it's 51 years later, but the blessings, he's always blessing those who make the effort. So let's all make an effort together to find the inner spring of bliss.
So, it's good to be aware of the gift of love that we've been given, realizing that here we have, the unmanifest Godhead decides, okay, humanity's screwing up so badly, I have to get down there and fix it. So he comes as Rama, comes as Krishna, then he comes as Shirdi Sai Baba, then he says, 100 years isn't enough, or 85 years isn't enough, how many years it was. I got to go keep coming. So he comes as Satya Sai Baba, and then he promises to come again as Prema Sai Baba. Now that we're almost 300 years into God inhabiting a human body in order to help the world. Now, that's the avatar. And you may not have full faith yet that that's true, but from the moment I found out about Satya Sai Baba, I knew it was true. And it just came upon me that that truth was real, that this is God in human form, and I have to find out how I can get there as soon as possible, or be a devotee, practice the teachings as ardently as possible. But in reality, just think about this. We are so incredibly fortunate that we have as our Sadguru, as our spiritual teacher, preceptor, and guide, God in human form. People wait hundreds of thousands of lifetimes, not just thousands of lifetimes, hundreds of thousands of lifetimes in order to realize or have the relationship that we have with Sai Baba, who said, I will never give you up until you are one with me, no matter what it takes. If you hang on to me, if you believe in me, meaning God, not just Satya Sai Baba, but it's nice that he took a human form and we have that opportunity. But the fact of the matter is, you believe in me, I'm never going to give you up. You're going to be one with me, whether you come cooperatively or uncooperatively. Doesn't matter. Whether you come kicking or screaming, I'm going to bring you back into the ocean of love, no matter what. Now we have the opportunity. It's just a matter of time, how long it takes. We have the opportunity to speed it up. We have the opportunity to cooperate, learn the teachings, follow the teachings, be free beings. It's a lot. It's the greatest treasure that anyone in the entire universe can actually have. Now, you might not have the full faith that that's true, but believe me, for Roseanne and I, it is absolutely true. We absolutely know this as true as the feet that are attached to our legs, and the eyes that we see with, and the ears we hear with, and the heart we feel with. So I hope that you can come to understand this incredible gift of a relationship that we have with God in human form and formless, ultimately. So it's Sai Baba himself, and how many gurus actually have ever said this? Go beyond name, go beyond form. Don't be attached to me. How many gurus do you know that actually have said that? I know Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharshi might have said it, but I didn't personally hear them say it, but I'm sure they did, because they were the true thing. But when the avatar says it, and then is willing to teach us, even after passing through physical existence in this particular Sai Baba form, he comes in our dreams. If you pray to him to come in your dreams, he will. If you pray ardently and say, please, Swami, teach me in my dreams, please, and you're following the path of love as best you can, he will come in your dreams. And the fact of the matter is, he said, when I come in your dream, you cannot conjure me up. You cannot make me up. I come because I will to come. And that's the only way I come in your dreams. So sometimes you remember them, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't remember when we're visited by Sai Baba in our dreams. But we are, if we pray so. And even if we're not visited, Swami said one other thing. He said, I am always with you, inside you, all around you. It is impossible for you to actually separate yourself from me. Lisa said many times, I am in you and all around you, always. He didn't mean the Satya Sai Baba form, he meant the formless, and in all names and forms I am. Of course. What else is there? So in all names and forms, the unmanifest is, and that unmanifest took manifestation in the form of Satya Sai Baba, Shirdi Sai Baba, and now Prema Sai Baba, who we still have, who'll have a few years before he comes out in the open. So think about that. What an incredible opportunity of love. What a greatest treasure of an opportunity that we have in this lifetime and in the lifetime to come, even if we're ardent enough to be one with God, be one in the ocean of love, the raindrops returning to the ocean. Think of that. It's amazing that we have this gift of love that Swami has given us. So I guess we'll meditate now.
Does anyone have any questions from their meditations from last month?
Yeah, feel free to ask away, open your mic and ask away if you like, or raise your hand and ask. Has anybody had any problems meditating? Because those are obstacles that are good to know in general, so everybody can feel comfortable knowing how to overcome the obstacles, if there are. Sometimes the mind wanders and it's hard to get it to cooperate. It took me a good 4 years to get the mind to even start to cooperate. Took me a good 7 years to even get to a point where I felt I was beyond mind. So never fret about that, because the smallest step towards inner peace and love and inner awareness is the greatest step. One step at a time. Never getting impatient or frustrated with the process, because Swami has said all you need to do is have patience. It'll all happen in due time. But we have to practice our sadhana. We have to do our spiritual practices with ardency and a degree of intensity and sincerity. Not, being part-time devotees, practicing one day and not practicing the next. So it's not convenient to practice this week. I had too much work to do. You could offer all your work to God as worship, but you could also offer all your meditations to God as the inner search for the oneness of love. And Swami has said, without inner awareness, how can you know who I am and where I am? So we have inner awareness. Some people transcend naturally. They go inside naturally. Daydreams are a lot like that. But with direction, searching for God, then daydreams become reality and night dreams become reality. And when we're not practicing meditation, we could be saying the name of God in any name we choose. We can be saying Om, which is the breath of God, or we can be saying a longer mantra or a longer name, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Doesn't matter what form you choose. All forms are Swami's form. But if you choose Om Shri Sai Ram, that's great. Or something similar to that. That's fantastic. Swami says not to meditate on long mantras because they end up becoming, keeping you on the surface of the mind more than shorter mantras, which allow you to transcend the mind more easily. But if you say a long mantra like Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat, if you say that in your meditation, eventually the mind will get so bored, it'll transcend. It might take a little longer.
Or it might actually experience that.
That's
hopefully.
right.
It's quite a wonderful experience.
All right.
So no questions? Anybody think of anything that?
Saram, brother and sister. So, this is Deepika. Actually, past couple of days back, I had some stress. And what happened when I tried to do meditation, and I can observe my thought and I know that is bothering me, and but I couldn't able to concentrate. Whenever I used to concentrate, like I know that that is the thought that I want to avoid that and concentrate, but it was so bad for 2 3 days. I now I am completely normal. Now I can concentrate myself and can do. But that middle of the 2 3 days, maybe for a week, I was very disturbed, and the way I try to do Namasparana, I try to do everything, but I can see myself. I can, what I can say, I can disassociate myself from that thought, but I couldn't able to control it. So is it okay to be in that or?
So the mind, yeah, it's a very good question. Excellent question. And it's an excellent question. And it's a common experience. So the mind, when it experiences a stress that is a little more from the point of view of attachments or desires, it's more to the core of it, then it will react and rebel. So you can't get past it. You just have to tolerate it, and just think om, 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 and then surrender that stress to God, because that's the only one that can really solve the problem. However, there is a trick, and the trick is this. We used to go in the 70s to Swami, and in the 70s, there was always this fellow outside the gate that would be clanging the bells in his hand and going, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba Jai, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba Jai, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba Jai, all day long. Whenever we went outside the gate, he was always doing it. And he wanted some money for it too. That's okay. That was his dharma. So the fact of the matter is, I learned from him, and Hilda actually shared it with me as well. And she had experienced him doing that too. He was the same guy. And she said, anytime I get into trouble where it's really, my mind starts to really get active, I say that. And I do it really loud, and I do it really verbally. So I clap my hands. So she was going, excuse me if it's going a little loud. Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba Jai, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba Jai, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba, Om Sai Baba Jai. And she would do that until her mind just said, okay, enough of this. And then she would meditate. The mind would be a lot calmer. But if the mind isn't, it's because that's exactly what has to happen in that moment. That is exactly where the mind has to be in that moment to heal whatever attachment is being dissolved or desire is being quelled. It's just the way it is. And the best we can do is sit with our eyes closed and do a mantra like Om Bhur Bhurvah Suvah Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Like the lightning in the clouds is striking. You do it with that type of intensity. The mind can't withstand it. The vibration is too subtle and high. And the vibration of worry and obsession that the mind gets into as a loop at times from the stress and the trauma, it's a low vibration. So you're taking your mind and lifting it or you're taking your awareness actually and lifting it to a higher vibration, and this lower vibration won't touch you anymore. There's another way to do it. That there's a third way, and that is go outside and do the hardest work that you can possibly do, or do it in the house. The hardest work you can possibly do. Do it as long as you possibly can. Become exhausted, and then sit and meditate. And you'll watch. Your mind won't even be there. Yeah. And it'll just go. And I used to do that a lot after a long day's work. I'd go to a Sai Baba Center meeting that was at 8 o'clock at night. And I'd be working, going to school, seeing people, and all sorts of things would be going on. And I'd be exhausted by 8 o'clock at night. And I went to the meeting and I just closed my eyes and boom, I was gone because there was no mind. He was too tired to be there. That's another way you can do it.
So is it okay that you shouldn't feel guilty after that? Okay, for a week I didn't do meditation, like my meditation was disturbed, and
you did meditation. The mind is never an obstacle to meditation. The mind is not the problem in meditation. The mind will come, will go. Yogis, even enlightened yogis, there's several stages of enlightenment, but the ones that are at the beginning stage especially, they have a mind. It's active. It's doing exactly what your mind is doing, but they don't care about it at all. It can do whatever they want. It could be a hurricane of a mind in a day. And they just don't care. They just watch it. They go om, and they go om Namah Shivaya or whatever they do. And they're just unconcerned with whatever the mind does. So the mind is never an obstacle to meditation.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right. And never feel guilty about your mind. It's just the mind. It just has no reality. And so you just wait till it's done doing its thing, and then you're free of it. So what Al was referring to was the famous Ramakrishna quote about clapping and to make the blackbirds go away, that the blackbirds of our thoughts. So that's why bhajans are so important, and really participating in bhajans and clapping and really feeling and getting enthusiastic. It makes a huge difference in changing our mind into flowing into a spiritual state.
Thank you. Thank
Very
you.
good question.
Yeah, thank you. For
Excellent
that.
question. Thank you for that question.
Okay, we're good. All right, let's meditate. So check your posture. Make sure you're sitting up straight. Oh. Taking a deep breath. Feel your lungs and your stomach expanding, the diaphragm expands and takes in this air. Then breathe out. Breathe in again very deeply. Full diaphragmatic breath. Diaphragmatic. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, while you're breathing in, say so, which is the actual sound your breath is making. And then as you exhale inwardly, hear and say hum. So hum. So hum. I am that. Breathe in. So breathe out. Hum. Do this on your own for a few minutes. Concentrate on the sound. While you're doing it, concentrate on what it means. I am that. Feel how you're becoming lighter. Your energies are smoother. You can feel it in your body, how your body's relaxing with each breath. So hum. I am that. Go deeply inside, each breath deeper. Let yourself, Swami said, find the inner spring of bliss. With each breath closer and closer to this fountain inside of us. That I am that. Feel it shining. Feel the bliss. It's our inner self. Go deeply inside. Find that spring of bliss. Deep within the heart. Deep within the heart. God resides. I am that. Find it deep within your heart. I am the infinite, supreme, absolute Sat Chit Ananda. Go inside. This is my real self, Sat Chit Ananda. Go within. I am Sat Chit Ananda. Truth, consciousness, bliss. I am ever one. Feel oneness. There's no second. There's only one. Sai Baba is not outside of us. It's only one. Feel the spring of bliss flowing within us. There's no second, only one. Bliss of oneness. Contemplate on this feeling of bliss, this knowing of oneness. Go deep inside. Dive deep into the bliss, bliss of our real self. Bliss of oneness. If any thoughts come in, worries or duality, work, family, whatever the duality is, as Baba says, see the oneness. There's no one opposed. There's no even another. It's only ourself, our true, infinite, loving self. There's no one outside. There's no one outside of Sai Baba. Sai Baba is the infinite universe, and no one and nothing, no thoughts, no feelings. Nothing is outside of his glorious being. Feel the bliss. Feel the bliss of God. It's our true self. I am that. There's nothing and no one outside of Swami's love. This infinite, expansive form that takes in all the universe. There's nothing outside of him. It's only bliss, only light, only being. I am that. Contemplate. Think about how your mind is flowing towards God, feeling God's love, seeing God's beauty. The universe is a form of God. Nothing is outside of God. Bliss is our self. It's always flowing. It's always there. When the mind stops, experience the bliss. Feel it inside, ever flowing bliss. Any thoughts come in, just gently go back to the source. Bliss is within us. Feel the breath. I am that. So let's go deeper. Place beyond words, beyond thought. This is our true nature. It's not the mind. It's this infinite God dwells within us. And every breath reminds us of our reality. So
Feel as if you're the sun inside you. The sun is shining forth through the boundaries that no longer exist of the body. Boundaries are transparent. You're shining out through the top of the head, shining out from your heart throughout the room you're in. It's shining like the sun. Sages and saints of old have said that the sunlight of consciousness, the light of consciousness, is 1,000 suns. So imagine that you're shining with that light, shining out to the room, to the world around you, your community, your friends, your family, your strangers up the street, acquaintances, even the so-called enemies, all consciousness embodied in different forms. All are God in different forms. It's like Halloween for God. The skies, they all turn to light in the awareness of truth. Let that happen for you. Shine like the sun. And whoever you think upon, let them shine like the sun too. Same light in you is the same light in everyone. Everywhere. Everything. Om. Shine out to the universe, the world itself, the stars, the clouds, the sky, the stars, the space between them, all are this light of consciousness. At your own pace. The mind dwell on Om while you're doing this. It has something to do, something to lock onto. That's the highest vibration the mind can think of. Om is the highest vibration, the breath of God the mind can think of. Naturally lifts you out of this world, out of the material consciousness, to the God consciousness. Om. It's all God, it's all God, it's all God, it's all Swami. It's all the unmanifest make manifest in form. It's all you, true you. And all the boundaries go, expand into that. awareness that everything, everywhere, everyone, every time, all the time is just God. It's all God, it's all God, it's all God. Me, you, everyone. It's all God, shining like the sun. Oh, let it all go except for the Om, and the light of love shines from your heart. Let it all go. Let it all go. Let it all go. I am the light of love that shines in this world, in the universe. The light of life is the light of love. Om. If you're having a hard time, just say, Swami, meditate within me. You're the meditator within me. You do it. You do it, Swami. You meditate within me. Bring me home. Show me the way home and bring me home, Swami. Bring me home. Beloved Sai Baba of our hearts and souls. Shine out. Expand with love. Expand, expand. Love is the way. Love more. Love everyone. Love life. Love this moment. Breath of life is a breath of love. Oh, you do it, Swami. Love within me. Love yourself. God, love me. I love you. I love myself in this body and all bodies I love. That's all there is. Swami, you do it. You love everyone, everywhere. Oh, whole universe is the body of God. Oh, let it all go. Oh, I am. Let everything else go. Oh, oh, I am. And the source of that thought, I am that I am, the source of consciousness. Oh, source of all forms and all names. I am that I am. Oh, Brahmasmi. love more. Before a body, before consciousness, who are you? For we were never born and we will never die, says Swami. We were never born and we will never die. Before consciousness, who are you? Oh, let it all go. Even the thought of home, without a thought, who are you? Being awareness bliss, beyond name, beyond form, beyond mind. I am that I am, Aham Brahmasmi. Let everything else go. Keep letting go. Keep letting go. Into that. Keep letting go. Beyond birth and death. The immortal, eternal, absolute. I am that I am. You were never born and you will never die. Om. Beyond the Om, source of Om. I am that I am. So anytime the mind starts up again, just let it dwell on Om. Recognize you are the source of the Om. I am that I am. Keep letting go into that. Daydream dissolves, night dream dissolves. Self is the same that experiences all states beyond mind. I am that I am. The one that experiences the mind. I am that I am. Experience, the experiencer, and the experienced. I am that I am. It's all God. All Swami. Formless Swami. Keep letting go. Go deeper by letting go. Letting go of attachments, letting go of desires, letting go of thoughts, letting go of feelings. Mind doesn't have to shut off. You just have to recognize you're not the mind. You're the observer of the observer of the mind. Higher mind, buddhi, observes the lower mind, but consciousness observes the higher mind, observing the lower mind. And then, before birth, in this body, before existence in any body, who are you? Whether celestial body or physical body on earth, doesn't matter, still a body. But before that, I am. We were never born and we will never die. Raindrops returning to the ocean. Oh. So God, so all Radha Krishna and the source of that. Oh. Keep letting go into that. Keep letting go. Brahmasmi. Let it go. You can take it back after meditating if you want. But for now, just let it go. Keep letting go. To that. Oh, source goal. Take us there. You do it, Swami. You do it within us. Take us home. Home. Stay with it. Stay with it. No matter what may happen outside. Stay with it. Home. I am that I am. Just a few more moments. Go a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Just a few more moments. I am that I am. Home. there is God. Everywhere, everything, everyone, all the time. All there is the Father, Mother, God. All there is Swami. God the Son. So now, be aware of where you are in your consciousness. Be aware of what you're experiencing. Perhaps you're even beyond the experience, just you are. Be aware. Who am I really, Swami? Deepen my progress, deepen my awareness, deepen my experience of your love, your light of the true me, the true you, the oneness of our love. Deepen it, please, Swami. Deepen it for all of us. Deepen it, please, Swami. Deepen our love for you, our experience of oneness. Deepen it, Swami, please. Be aware of what your experience is and breathe it into the heart center and the body. Begin to come back into the awareness that you have a body. And then the altar in that temple of the body is your heart. And the eternal flame of love burns brightly in that heart center. As God's presence within you expands, grows, expands, spread throughout this life, throughout this world. Wherever you may be, Breathe that back into your body now. Begin to come back into this temple of the body. We are not the body, we are not the mind, we are consciousness and the source of consciousness, experiencing life in the phase of the mind, of the body, through the lens of the mind. That's all. It's part of the instrument, but not the true you, not the true me. True you and me is God in every atom of that body, every particle of that body, shining like the sun in every single one of these particles. Even the smallest, smaller than the atom. It's all God. That's all there is here. These things we call bodies. And we experience life through what we call the mind. They are the clouds. The mind is the cloud that hides the sun. Let it go. Intuition can be your guide. The inner conscience, that's God in us, can be your guide. Henceforth, love will show you the way. Pure love. That's what we're made of. Nothing but that. Love is God. God is love. So as we come back into these bodies, let's share that love through an om that spreads throughout the world. See everyone that you think on and everywhere you think on as in this light of love. This is a prayer. This is the way we pray after meditating. And it can become a meditation in itself too, throughout the day and even the night. Let's home together for peace in this world. May all beings be happy, healthy, and prosperous. May all beings find that their good dreams come true and all their needs met. May they all beings come into God awareness. May we have a peaceful, loving, God oneness, cooperative world. Oh. Visualize the whole world and all beings in it, and even the universe and all beings in it, filled with light and love, filled with God. Oh. From the heart of God to all beings' hearts. Oh. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May peace be on earth. May Prema Sai Baba return to us, show us the way, complete the journey home. Please find us, Prema Sai Baba. Find us, Swami. Find us. Find us, Swami. Please. May we find you. Take a couple of minutes before opening the eyes, and then slowly open the eyes. Don't jump into action. It's too jarring. Take your time, like waking up from sleep. You take time to transition to waking from meditation. How is everybody doing?
It was very beautiful.
You always say that, son.
It was.
Thank you very, very much. Any questions? Anybody want to say anything or ask a question?
Sairam, I want to ask a question. This is Dina.
Hi, Dina. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you. I have enjoyed every month since Labor Day. It's almost a full year since I've been meditating with you guys every month. I
Oh
have
my
not
God.
missed 1 month at all, and I'm
Uh.
so excited. Question for you is, why is my intensity when I meditate with you as a group, it's so profound, but when I try to do that on my own, even listening to the audio playbacks and the YouTube playbacks from our, the same exact sessions, I just don't get the same depth in my meditation. Why is that?
So it's a synergistic effect. So we're all meditating together. We're not separate people. In reality, we're one in consciousness and in God. And we have an intention to do this together. So each of us is multiplied by the group effort of tonight, 20 people or so, and 21 actually or more. And the fact of the matter is, we all multiply each other's energy by doing it together. Jesus put it this way, where two or more gathered, I am. But it's also where we're multiplying each person's energy by tenfold because we do it synergistically together. So we have it's like it pulls us into that consciousness together because we're all in that energy building it. And Swami also, when a group effort of cooperative nature and loving nature is made on his behalf, he is with us. I mean, not just that he's with us all the time, but his grace is multiplied that much more to push us inside and find the love and the Godhead who we really are. But also when you meditate alone, that's very, very, very important to make the effort without being attached to the result. So meditating alone, it may not be as strong, but the effort is, and the intensity which you make on your own is actually more important than the effort intensity that we make as a group. So, because that's an individual effort, that's with a lot of difficulty because we're only doing it alone. So, that intensity of sadhana is very, very important. That ardency, that persistence, that perseverance. Swami says, just keep going, and with patience, my grace will come, and liberation too. He has said that. Like he compares it to a rock that's hit 99 times, and then the 100th strike breaks it.
Swami said just in that letter, he said, my blessings are with all those who are making such spiritual efforts. I bless that they may have steadfast faith. Blessings, Baba.
Thank
It's
you. That's
very
beautiful.
real. David?
Yeah, first I want to thank you for something you said last month. You said that Swami's very pleased with us. And that meant a great deal because I've had a terrible time this month and I could remember that and feel okay. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, beautiful. When Swami gives us a hard time, that's an extra blessing.
Well,
It is, even though he says, my difficulties that I give you are given out of the grace of my love, because those are the times when we're being firmly hammered, like the golden ore in the smelting pot. We're just refining. His difficulties that he gives us are challenges and tests, and they strengthen us in our unconditional love and our spiritual awareness.
Well, okay. I mean, I have my own conversation on those things with Swami, so I'm not going to go there. But The
Well, you
other-
have the right to say, enough, Swami, I can't take anymore. To ease up, it's okay. I'll get
Yes,
there.
yes,
You have the right to say that.
I wonder all the time what he's trying to teach me. Let's put it that way. And it makes me always think, oh my God, I've got this to learn and that to learn, and that's a whole nother cycle. The thing specifically, and I'm having a lot of the things that the sister talked about before. Thoughts going on and problems coming up and all that kind of stuff. But for a long time in these months, I was having very little trouble getting up to the crown chakra and in.
Mhm.
And now I'm going straight up to the wall and I can't get in. And I
That's,
don't know what it is, but I go up and up and up and I can, I'll be there for so
that's
much.
okay.
But
So when we're first meditating, we have a
Wow.
subconscious,
it's
we
very
have some,
frustrating.
when we're first meditating, the subconscious mind is unstirred. When the subconscious mind when we're meditating more and more and more, the subconscious mind gets stirred. And when the subconscious mind gets stirred, all the stuff we've held back and been afraid of and held in our subconscious through many lifetimes floats up to the top. Now we got to get through it. So whenever that happens to me, that happens from time to time, I use the visualization of the sun at dawn, rising to high noon at the top of the head. And if that doesn't work, I say, Swami, you dissolve the karma. You do it. I know I'm one with you. Grant me your grace, Swami. And I keep hammering. I just keep going. Swami, grant me your grace. I love you. Grant me your grace. I love everybody. Grant me your grace. Teach me to love unconditionally. Teach me to forgive unconditionally. And teach me to serve all, love all, serve all unconditionally. That's all I care about. Let me remember you. You do it. And I don't worry where I am in the meditation. I never think of it.
Well, you have helped a lot telling us that doing the practice is advancing us. So that helped a lot knowing that from you. So, if I'm sitting for 40 minutes and I don't get what I want, I'm still sitting for 40 minutes and I realize that that's progress, that's teaching.
Beautiful.
So thank you for that, because that's another thing you've taught us. So
Beautiful.
I'll just stop here. Thank you.
Okay, Swami says, also back to that letter, it's very important. He says, it is this delusion that causes sorrow and makes us toss from pleasure to pain and from joy to grief, instead of being the unruffled spectator of both. So they have to happen because we have to learn to be the unruffled spectator.
Equanimity. Once I was meditating for 2 hours and I was just like banging my head against the wall. It had no effect whatsoever. I was meditating. This is when I was before being married. And I was just frustrated, but I'm meditating. I'm just going to keep pounding away. I walked down the stairs into a living room where somebody was playing the Hallelujah chorus. And I had the most profound experience that I had ever had to that point with God. I became one almost with the golden light of love, the celestial level, just by listening to that Hallelujah chorus over and over again. And I mean, complete with angels and God and everything. I was just one. And the only thing that was separating me from that oneness was my body somewhere way in the distance, which I perceived to be Earth. But I was not in this universe. I was in the celestial golden light of love. And all I could hear in my heart was my Father, my Father, my Father, my Father. It didn't even come from my mind. It came from deep within me. And then I thought, let this body be crucified, because I didn't even want it. I just wanted this golden love. And at that point, Swami just put a lead shield over my head and pushed me back in. That was after 2 hours of not getting anywhere, going Om Sai Ram, in my mind and meditating. I wasn't getting anywhere. I felt like I was in my feet at the time. After 2 hours.
Singing the Lord's Prayer. But there was one last. I forgot it. Okay. I just lost it. So it's one last thing.
Thank you, Dave, for your wonderful question.
Meditation that was really very neat, and I could, I try to visualize myself being very small and just you know, really the essence of me. And I had one where the pieces of ego were coming off
Good,
in me. And I thought that was really great. So
beautiful. God does everything. God is everything. Everything else is ego.
Sister Roseanne, can we get a copy of that letter, please, so we can share it with everyone?
Oh, sure. How would-
We'll
figure
scan
out-
it in.
Yeah.
Okay,
This letter, the Psi organization doesn't even have it. The SSIO, we've had it from Hilda. I had the original letter that Hilda gave me, that Swami, when Hilda passed, she gave us that letter, and we copied it. And the SSIO doesn't even know about this letter. Nobody knows. But you're welcome to share it with everyone. And
Okay.
send it to you. That would be very good. That
okay,
would be wonderful.
thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Sairam,
Anybody?
Sairam,
Yes.
this is Kusuma. I'm from
Sairam.
Orlando, Florida.
Mhm.
I have one question. Like today, while meditating, like what should I do if I get some old memory, which is not so pleasant?
We did the subconscious meditation. Remember that day?
Yeah.
Were you there? You do the subconscious memory. You give it into the fire of love in your heart. That Swami, it's a yagna. And that subconscious memory, you just let it unfold deeply. Matter of fact, it's an opportunity. So when you have a subconscious memory, you look into your solar plexus, let it come up full as you can possibly let it come up, and then offer it into the fire in your heart, the yagna that Swami oversees, because he's the resident in our heart, and ask him to help you offer it into that. And it may come up several times, and each time that it comes up, you keep doing it, because there's layers of trauma from it, or there's things that happen, and our bodies and our minds get impressions from that, and we just keep offering it into that, and it'll dissolve after a time if you keep doing that.
Yeah, we'll try to do that cleansing again. Do it
Yeah.
soon.
But it sometimes, like while doing that, it is very difficult for me to forgive them. So what should I do at that? Because what I'm feeling is, if I forgive them, I am accepting that they're right, but they did not do the right thing. So that is the block I had.
Let me tell you a story. Hanukkah 1980, Swami, right before Christmas, we offered to do Hanukkah with Swami. We asked Swami, and he said yes. So he lit the Hanukkah candles while I sang the Hanukkah prayers with a group of Jewish people, 25 of us. Dr. Hislop was there, and many others.
Dr. Goldstein.
And Dr. Goldstein was there, of course, and many others. We asked Swami after that, after Hanukkah, we had a little party, and he put the Jewish star on the symbol that day and said, for all the countries outside of India, the Jewish star on the symbol counts. Use it that way. That's why Radio Psi uses it to this day. Not many people know that, because we haven't really shared that very much, though we're about to in a book. But the fact of the matter is, one of the Jewish women there asked Swami, and I was standing right next to her in front of Swami, and she said asked Swami, why did World War II happen? Why did all that Holocaust happen? What's going on there? What happened? And Swami said, there are no victims. Everything that happens by the will of God. God knows the reasons, human beings cannot. And that woman said, Swami, what do you mean? She yelled at Swami. And I was standing there, and he looked at me, and I just accepted. Swami said it. That's the way it is. I don't understand it, but that's the way it is. Swami gave the next pieces of that puzzle in 10-year increments. Every 10 years, he would say something else to either me or somebody that I would find out he said it to. And he put it all together. And basically, we are working through our karma, and Swami says, I do everything, and everything is for the good. So we have to have faith in that. Because if we think that person did bad, so did Ravana. Ravana did the worst things that can possibly be done.
Agree.
And
Yeah.
look, he had to play the role. So somebody has to play the role of the deliverer of our past deeds. Action, reaction, law of physics. And we might not like it, and we'll never understand it until we get to the other side and are one with God. Or at least maybe we can get to the other side, and then they'll show us in the movie why it happened if we ask, how that happens. So in your consciousness, you see your whole life and all the reasons that everything happened. In a flash, it's just instantaneous. It's like that. But the fact of the matter is, we have to trust and have faith that God does everything. And our job is to let go and forgive, love all, serve all, love unconditionally. Like the sun gives us sunlight. He gives murderers sunlight. He gives murderers life. He gives us life. He gives everybody life, no matter what they did. We're like that. We have to become that. That's what we have to become. So even though people do horrendous things to us, and believe me, some people have done horrendous things to me when I was a kid, but I had to forgive them because they didn't know any better. And they were God too. And God allowed that to happen to me and to others. Okay, I must have done that in a previous life or something similar that I had to suffer that consequence. I accept it, Swami. I accept the whole thing. It's just your grace. I love you. That's it. Sai Ram. And that's how I operate. I don't hold on to anything. And people even now, look what they did to Jesus. He forgave him. They nailed him to the cross, for God's sakes. And they did it viciously. They put crowns of thorns on him. They whipped him. Okay, if he can forgive in the midst of all that. And Swami says Jesus was his best disciple. That's what Swami says. We asked Swami one, who are you in reference to Jesus? And he put his head down very humbly, and he looked at the ground. And he said, I'm the one who sent them. And I once asked Swami, are you the Messiah? He said, no, I'm God. So, we have to have faith in those words that Swami has told us and said, and the teachings. The teachings are forgive, love all, serve all, forgive all, let go, let go, let go, let go. It's hard at times. It's really hard at times.
And also you don't put yourself in, it's God's message to get out of the way of a rampaging elephant or a tiger. You don't have to, be a victim. But if something happened, then it's just, it was some karma that we had, and it's better to let go of the anger at people.
And Swami's not Santa Claus. I mean, he is Santa Claus because Santa Claus is Swami and everybody's God. But the fact of the matter is, Swami's not like Santa Claus. He just doesn't give presents out all over the place. He gives life to us. He gives God to us. And that's a tough one,
I've always thought that we choose what karma we're going to take on when we come down, and that sometimes we take too much and sometimes we can't. And that's
a little hard.
Sometimes, we achieve what we tried. And
true, but the fact is, once you accept Swami as your teacher, once you say, okay, Swami, you're my teacher, you're my Sadguru, then Swami goes, okay, I'll handle this. From now on, I'm handling it.
Yeah.
No matter what we promised before.
Well, the other thing, and I know you know this, the closer you get to God, the faster your karma comes.
That's right. That's true. But the more grace he gives for you able to bear it with equanimity, increasing equanimity. Yeah. I mean, horrible things happen to me as a devotee. Horrible things.
Agree.
And
it's like an
Swami,
obstacle course.
Yeah. Sometimes Swami created them. It wasn't even like, sometimes Swami created this horrible thing that happened.
But like once Al, he was supposed to lead the choir at Christmas, and there's another person who was above him, and they said no, their friend was going to do it, and Al had a hard time accepting that, but he did, and Swami gave him 5 Namaskars.
That was nice.
He kept his mouth shut. I forget. He just kept going over and giving out Namaskar, don't worry about it. And then the next year we got to do the choir. So it's just we get these tests, you know, and we keep our mouths shut and just love everybody, then it works out.
Right. Thank you. Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Sairam. Thank you. Well, it's come to another evening of closing out. Thank you very, very much. We are going on vacation in August, so we won't be able to do the August meditation, if that's okay, Sai Prasanna.
Yeah, it's whatever you can. You're doing a great service for us by coming every month. So we will practice with your recordings. We have all your recordings.
Yeah.
So I
And we
guess,
will send these things, the papers. Yeah.
okay, sure. So we'll meet again in September then.
Yes, we're looking forward to that.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you for the heads up. So appreciate it. Thank you so much. Every month we get energized. I'd like Sister Anusha to say the closing prayers if you think.
Thank you.
Dear Swami, thank you for this amazing opportunity that you always bless us with to be in this wonderful company of fellow spiritual aspirants led by your divine loving instruments, Brother Al and Sister Roseanne. Swami, we cannot begin to thank you for everything that you bless us every day. We seek your guidance, Swami, as we continue to tread in this journey of meditation, as we continue to explore ourselves within and realize the ultimate truth. Please guide us, Swami, guard us every step of the way. Help us love everybody, serve everybody, forgive everybody, and be your ideal instruments. Sai Ram. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Sairam, brother, Sairam, sister. Thank you.
Thank
Sai
you.
Ram.
Sai. Have a great
Thank you, everyone. Have a